Hi friends, welcome back to another video about understanding your dreams. So today I want to talk to you about vomit. I want to talk to you about dreams in which you're vomiting, or let's just throw in there going to the bathroom dreams, urinating, all that sort of thing. What does it mean? Because I have had some people reach out to me recently and ask about the dream meaning of vomiting in particular. And really, if you are dreaming that you are vomiting, it just means that you are expelling evil from your life. Let's just call it evil, okay? Something that does not belong. Of course, as Christians, we believe in false teachings and false beliefs. So if you are vomiting something, you're basically getting rid of something that does not belong in your body, that is not good for you, and you're expelling that from your life. There was a lady who dreamt of vomiting froglets, and she was sort of stumped as to what it meant. I interpreted that dream to mean that she was expelling like evil things from her life that were at the very beginning stage, right? So it wasn't something that had gotten very deeply entrenched into her. Like it wasn't like a false belief that she had for that long, let's say, because it was froglets and so they were just still babies and growing. But she got rid of some sort of false belief that had started to develop in her thinking and in her spirit. On the other hand, I had another gentleman reach out to me through Facebook, and he had dreamt about, like, he had vomited plastic and like water and like long chains, like really long, and he was vomiting for a very long time, and it was like all this plastic and chains and things like that. But the one thing about the dream was not only was he vomiting these materials, but it was happening for a very long time, where the vomit just kept coming and coming. And this young man, he's of, like, I think he's South African perhaps, or I don't know what country in Africa, but I know he's African. And so I interpreted his dream to mean that he is basically ridding himself of man-made false beliefs that have been in his culture for a very long period of time, right? And they're deeply entrenched. So that culture, there's a lot of Christians there, of course, but they also have had, different cultural beliefs from their ancestors that have mixed in, and so those things have an effect. And in his dream, he was just vomiting that out, and of course he was in agreement with that interpretation. And again, that is key, because I've spoken about that before, that you're really the only one who knows whether the interpretation is right or wrong, because you will have a knowing in your spirit where you're like, oh, okay, yes, that's what that means. When you have a dream, it's sort of like you have a parable or like a riddle or something, and you're trying to figure it out. And so you're kind of thinking about all this, but then when that interpretation comes, and when you understand it, whether you're able to figure it out on your own, through the Holy Spirit, or someone comes along who can interpret your dream, it resonates, and it makes sense, so that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that is, I can see that. And so all I'm saying is that these interpretations should be confirmed in your own spirit, right? But I have seen people sometimes when they accept just anything, and that to me is really dangerous. I just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't come into agreement, especially when people are pronouncing evil things over your life. I mean, I've seen all kinds of, somebody dreamt about, like a pair of shoes, which we will talk about that as well. And they're like, oh, it means death. like what? I don't even understand those interpretations really. And I think they go back to, again, certain cultural beliefs that, are not necessarily, they're just not founded on like the Word of God. So that is what I believe that vomiting represents. I also had a friend, I personally had a dream about someone that I really care about. And in my dream, my friend was, number one, he was like drunk, right? And he was needing to pass out. So that symbolizes, that's my dishwasher. So that symbolizes not being in your right mind, being under the influence, right, of evil spirits, and not being yourself, basically, right? And in this dream, he had gotten ill and he was dry heaving. So he was, just continually dry heaving. And that dream represents that, he's obviously trying to rid himself of some erroneous belief, some erroneous, thing in his life, but he really couldn't. It just wasn't coming out. He just was trying and trying to rid himself of that, and he was not able to. Okay. And there are beliefs, guys, it makes sense, that are so deeply entrenched that our minds are just not ready to expel or to see as false, right? And so that brings me to my earlier point about believing your interpretation of the dream, and how usually most 90% of the time you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that. That's what that means. You're going to have that confirmation. But there are times when people are in denial and they don't want to believe the message that comes in the dream. And so they just push it aside. It's meaningless. And they're in denial. A lot of those have to do with cheating dreams, where people dream that their spouse is cheating, stuff like that. And I'm not saying every cheating dream means that your spouse actually cheated, because again, they could be symbolic for something else. But oftentimes they are actually true, and they do reveal that someone, even if they didn't actually cheat on you, wants to cheat on you, right? But we're getting off topic. We're going back to the vomit dreams. So the vomiting dreams are, I believe, dreams about expelling false beliefs, false teachings, and things of that nature. Now, what about urinating dreams? Well, it's pretty much, along the same lines. You're still expelling something, you're still ridding yourself of something. But I do believe the urinating dreams have more to do with like emotions, negative feelings, For example, someone had a dream where they're urinating again for a very long time. And that could just mean that there's some kind of situation in your life where you're having a really difficult time letting go or dealing with that, or letting go of negative emotions that are associated with that thing. So there was a dream that another lady reached out to me about, where she had urinated all over the toilet seat, and it was like, she was trying to urinate and it just went all over. I think there was no seat actually, but it was like all over the toilet bowl and things like that. And after I interpreted the dream for her, which meant that she was trying to rid herself of something, but she was having difficulty because she was still dealing with whatever it was that she was trying to get rid of. Because, it didn't go in the bowl and out. It was still like there. She was still having to deal with it. She then told me, yes, I believe you're right, because she was going through a divorce in which her husband had cheated on her. And so she was very angry about the whole situation, and she was trying to move past it and, forgive and whatever, but she was still dealing with it because she felt very humiliated. And I think in the dream there were even other people involved that, So guys, these are just, again, it's my opinion. You can have your own opinion. And if you have some insight that you'd like to comment on, that's great. You know, the more insight we have, the better. But that's just what I believe. As far as the bathroom where you're like, you know, defecating in a dream, that to me is a situation which is like something that has been more fully processed and you are definitely ready to get rid of. Okay, so it's something that you're like, okay, I'm done with this, I'm letting that go. And could be just a negative situation in your life or something that you're just done and moving on. But there is a certain element of, you know, it's waste. It's something that's not profitable to you in any kind of way, and you just are happy to get rid of, and you really need to discard it for your own well-being, right? But oftentimes what happens in these kinds of dreams is that people are trying to find a bathroom, or they get to a bathroom and there's no toilet there, and so they can't, you know, they can't find a place to use the restroom, in which case that is a problem, you know, because basically your dream is telling you that you don't have the ability basically to discard this. You're not in a place in your life where you're ready to let this go, whether it's emotionally, you know, mentally, whatever. You're just not in a place where you have the proper things needed to let whatever it is go from your life. Because, you know, maybe it's through prayer or something, through your spirituality, and where you can pray and you can release these negative emotions or thoughts or whatever. And if you're not doing that, and you're not really spending like time in prayer with God, or, you know, reflecting on these things, and then you're just not going to have that in place to be able to let these things go. And so that would be a warning dream about that. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can relate to what I'm talking about. I had a lot of those kind of dreams when I first became a Christian. I don't really have them very often anymore, but, you know, I had to relieve myself of all kinds of false doctrines and beliefs. And, you know, I felt like I was very much programmed by, you know, our society and worldly beliefs. So I used to have that a lot. And when I was in a negative situation, that kind of thing was more common. But so it is common to have those dreams at a certain time in your Christian walk, I believe. That's been my experience anyway. I'm sorry about this light. This room where I like to film, and I've explained in other videos, because this is the best lit room in my house. Unfortunately, in the winter, you know, the sun is lower, and so this light just comes in here, and I don't know, it's made everything different. I feel like I need some kind of a light, one of those halo lights or something to video, but as of right now, I don't have that, and so who knows. But thank you so much for watching the videos. It makes me feel good that people are actually watching, and I have gotten some good feedback on them. And I know it's only like about 30 subscribers, but that's okay. It does not matter as long as you're getting something out of them. See, look, that light is so annoying. Anyway, so I just wanted to make a short little video about that. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I do have other videos coming in the future, God willing. Thank you. Bye-bye.